Hey everybody, Spoon again. Now, I went down and found the breaker that I believe is a breaker. I shut it down, the lights are off. But even though the lights are off, I'm going to take plug bug out. And then I'm going to stick in my tester. Make sure I'm not getting any voltage. Not getting any voltage there. So I've checked it twice. And in checking it twice, I should be in good enough shape to take it out and see what I have to do about making it come out further, because those ears that are on the receptacle, you don't want sunk back behind. You literally want them up. And you really, if it was cut, typical cut, they would sit on this wood. But this was cut out a little, cut out differently. So I'm just gonna pull it out and see if I can, what my distance has to be. And it doesn't matter whether I've tested this every time. I treat it like it's hot, and I try not to get bit. And that's, to me, that's what getting shocked feels like, is literally getting bit like we're stung by a wasp. Probably a better bee or a wasp is more like what it feels like. And I don't enjoy that, so I always work to try to keep myself from getting bit. Yeah, still needs to come out some more. So the screws we have in there appear to be long enough to do this with, which will be really good. Now, if you didn't already know this, on a receptacle like this, what most people call an outlet, there's a smaller slot on one side and a longer slot on the other. Smaller slot is your hot. The longer slot is the neutral or common. So you can get a no read between the neutral and the ground. If you do it wrong, if you try to read between those two, you're going to get hit, because you're not, well, there's a good chance you'll get hit, because you're not going to be reading off the hot. You need to read between neutral through the common slot, the long slot, and the short slot, which is the hot, your hot leg. Because if you don't read both, if you don't read it that way, it's a good chance you're going to get hit. Now, the shorter leg, the shorter slot, the screws are a brass color. Behind it, that's where your hot wire will go to. And your hot wire, when you're doing residential, it's either going to be black or red typically. There will be some things with switching you'll have to watch, but I'm not talking about the switching right now. That's light switches, I mean. And then you'll have a silver screw, and that should be a white or a natural white or a natural gray. Gray is typically used for 480, 277 when we're doing commercial work. Residential, it's what's close. If you got it, you use it. So it has to be a whiter, a natural white or a natural gray for your common. Now the ground wire, in this case, is bare because it's coming out of Romex, out of non-metallic cable. But it can be bare copper, green, or green with a yellow stripe. Now all three of those are by code. When you start talking about hots, they can be black, red, blue, brown, orange, yellow, violet. Any color that's not natural white, natural gray, or bare copper, green, or green with a yellow stripe. So the color, everything that's not white, gray, or the greens and the bare copper, those can all be hots by code. So that's what you pay attention to, is how they're wired. And you always, when you're wiring, you test. Just constantly check, be safe. A lot of times what I like to do when I put these in, because I didn't put this in, is I like to run a piece of electrical tape around it. So whoever's next pulling it out, if they got to pull out for something, they at least got those screws covered. And a lot of guys will tell you that that's a waste of money. Contractors don't like it. But when I'm doing repair work for people, or I'm in there doing, like helping my friends out, I do that to make sure that if they got to get into it later, it's as safe as possible. If I'm working for a contractor and a contractor tells me not to do it, I'm not going to do it because that's who I'm working for. And I'm in a bad habit nowadays. I should even have this Leatherman tread off so I don't have anything for conductivity. I don't wear my wedding ring or anything when I work because of the conductivity of the metal. But that's the basics on what I'm doing right now. I got to figure out how to extend it because we don't have the green caterpillars. I might use an old wireman's trick of using a piece of copper wire put behind the screws. I don't think that's code anymore, but I want to get it stood out so we can figure out whether we're going to need to get longer screws or not for the boxes. It'll be a temporary fix, and then we'll go ahead and get the right stuff and do all the rest of them that need to be done in this bead board. This bead board's really nice. It's just clad. It just fits the time period when the house was built. So we don't want to just go through with sheetrock and do all this. We're probably going to get some oversized plates to do it. But that's how you work a receptacle when you're trying to figure out what's going on with it. And if you're troubleshooting it, make sure you go down, find the breaker, test it with your testers. Don't ever count on the plug bug. Don't ever count on the chicken stick or tick tracer. If you should have some type of tester like this or a digital. But before you do this, you need to go to a known outlet that works, and you need to put it in and make sure this is working, or your digital doesn't need batteries, or something along those lines. Always test your equipment first before you start risking your life with it, and you are risking your life when you're sticking your hands into electrical. All right, spoon out.